Hi, this is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
Woo! You now rocking with One Nation Radio. Welcome to the program. James Boy, Richard Latta, and a couple friends with the show for your wrestling needs. Shopping out the rest of the IWC. We gon' tell her how it is. We gon' shoot from the hip. If they putting out trash, we gon' rip from the bits. Make sure that you tweet us and you rate the shows. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Now let's get it on the road. Hey. One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports.
Welcome to One Nation Radio. And now here are your hosts, Rich Latta and James Boyd. And thank you for listening.
SocialSuplex.com. BWB, what's up?
What's good? This is Wale, and this is One Nation Radio. You already know.
Welcome to the December 3rd edition of One Nation Live. James, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Pretty eventful week outside of pro wrestling for me, but interesting to see what your thoughts were on this week's episodes we got.
You're damn right. James turned 30 this week, and celebrated a birthday. So how was it, man?
I did not think I actually set you up for that, but yeah, had a good birthday. And that's saying something for a person that typically, doesn't really do into the whole like hype about birthdays. Like, I tend to be more excited for other people's birthdays than mine. For me, at this point it's like, I never did the Sweet 16 thing. I do the occasional dinner thing. I might, every year I just feel like I actually get out there and actually invite, all of friends, a lot of people I haven't seen over an amount of time, and try and do the whole catch up thing. But, it was fun. I hung out with, my wrestling buds, for a birthday dinner. That was fun with Josh and Jeremy and you. But yeah, man, 30.
Washed?
Just
yes or no? Yeah. Washed?
Well, oh, please. I've been washed for years. Like, being 30 is not the wash day for me. I've been washed. I was telling Jason this. I've been washed since like 2012. So.
Damn.
so me turning 30 don't mean shit. It's just further. All
I want for my birthday is a big booty. All I want for my birthday is a big booty.
So we gonna play something for James. When James dies, bury him inside the Gucci store. But yeah, what's going on, Howard? I guess he said it's the first time he caught us live. Jeremy said do it live, and then Simon was like, this might be the first time I caught y'all early, and then Simon said, hey, turn up.
Oh my God.
So yeah, man, we gonna go ahead and get this motherfucker cracking. Besides that, happy birthday to James. I guess, we saw Roman Reigns started. He's the new Intercontinental Champion, showed up on Monday Night Raw, with the title in tow. They were in Knoxville, Tennessee. Tennessee is the source of all the jokes this week, with the college football hiring.
It was funny, because they were also in Knoxville, so I'm thinking like, I wonder, the whole Seattle thing had already happened by that point in time. So I was wondering, like, if the crowd was going to, like, have some type of weird chance. But they didn't. They acted like a wrestling crowd.
Yeah. So
I was kind of disappointed in that.
So the deal with Reigns, he came out and, there was some boos, and then there was like a "you deserve it" chant that broke out amongst 10 people that I found absolutely hilarious. He like went out of his way to act like it was 10,000 people chanting that. But hey, you got to start somewhere. What did you think about that? Did you catch that?
Yes, I heard it, and I was wondering if it was so weak that started out. I was thinking to myself, because he came out and he didn't really get booed. Like, this is like one of the first times in a long time that he comes out by himself and like he gets mostly cheered. And so he comes out and you hear I felt like you heard like maybe 20 people chanting "you deserve it," and then like I was thinking it was gonna pick up, but it stayed the same volume.
Just didn't.
And I was just like, wow, so this man really just got like the weakest "You Deserve a chant" of all time. That's something. That is something.
No more Miz this week, but we did get the Miztourage show up, and they came out there with the Drifter in tow, Elias, and the match was made for Roman Reigns to take on Elias. I feel like WWE has wanted to do this match subconsciously all year. They've kept Elias relatively strong, and they've wanted to put this guy out there with Roman Reigns, and they finally did it this evening.
Have they actually really kept them strong? Because when I think about Drifter, like
the commentary the commentary in that match was absolutely nauseating. Like, they wouldn't heel on either guy. They've blown the Drifter for months on commentary. Yes. They don't actually know what to do with him because they don't want to, really, like, they do these DQ finishes. I think they had him lose on a roll up or something and then beat Jason Jordan's ass like immediately after that. He finally got like a showcase match with Roman Reigns, but we'll get to that later. From there, we had Seth Rollins take on Cesaro in a really long match.
Wait, that's all you have to say? It was really long? You didn't think the match was good?
No, it was fine. It was, nothing to like to go crazy about or anything.
I really liked that match. I thought it was a really good match.
Maybe it's because I wasn't paying all the way attention.
Went through 2 commercial breaks.
Yeah, maybe because I wasn't paying all the way attention. Like, I might have had something else going on, but the parts that I did see, like, it was cool. I wish they would give Seth Rollins a new finisher. He really needs one. I think that's what's really holding him back in the ring right now. And it's not like we can even have him start using another one of his moves. Like, it would be good for him to use a frog splash, but it's like, I don't know if they want to do that. They came out here and had him go over, and then there was like a little interview. Basically, he spilled the beans on Dean Ambrose and Renee Young being gone for the week. Roman Reigns, the Intercontinental Champion, is this the first sign of the Shield, kind of splintering?
Well, he didn't do that. Like, actually, at the beginning on commentary, Cole mentioned that Dean Ambrose was on honeymoon twice. So, but the fact that what he did spill was the fact that I'm sure most people know this, but like Renee and Dean Ambrose actually being a married couple, he actually said out loud and mentioned something about Renee's Dean is how he's unhinged and he's in a hotel and Renee's credit card might actually be the one on file. So like, Charlotte, you need to go out there and check on Renee. And I was like, okay, that's kind of corny. But it's pretty much just a thing to come out there and mention the fact that they're all still together. They're just doing their own thing right now because they're trying to all be champions or whatever until right now. I mean, I think it's a smart move. Like, you can't put 3 heel teams together, 3 heel pieces together all the time for them to keep smashing or whatever. So I mean, I think that's the right move for now. I don't know. Like, do you think we're going to get Joe versus Roman for Royal Rumble, or do you think we're too far out to even know?
I think we're too far out to even know, and that might happen on TV. I think they have like an LA show coming up pretty soon, and the Royal Rumble is still 8 weeks away. So, and I wouldn't be sure. Well, they'll blow us like last year and have Roman like in a title match, and then also in the Royal Rumble just to fuck with everyone.
Oh, he gonna be in a Rumble.
Simon says Omega doing the V-trigger works because it came about against Okada. Had Rollins been using this after busting up Cena's nose, it would work. 2 years later, it's dry. But the V-trigger isn't even Omega's finisher. It's like kind of like a setup move. What up, Omar? I see you tuned in. Howard says they won't let him do God's last gift, even though they should. It's too dangerous to botch.
Hey,
yo.
Kenny Omega uses V triggers like Ric Flair used knife edge chops. That's really his knife edge chop. I knee you in the face.
Yeah. He also picked that up after Nakamura.
Yeah. What is God's last gift?
I think it's a move where he like puts him up like in a vertical suplex, but like drops him into like a small package, but it looks like a brain buster, if I'm not mistaken. They really did him a disservice when they took that curve stop away from him.
Yeah, the curb stop was a perfect finish. They, that was weird. Like Vince woke up one day and was like, we shouldn't be doing this because kids might be emulated, as if any other fucking thing you do in a wrestling ring can't fucking kill you.
Yes. They let Roman Reigns have a move called the drive-by for all those years.
Not even that. Like Roman Reigns' finish is tackling somebody.
Yeah.
That's not dangerous, huh?
Now, I know you said you enjoyed the Rollins and Cesaro match. I enjoyed another match that happened, and it was just absolutely a fight directly out of the Giant versus Ming tree of things. It was Samoa Joe versus Titus O'Neil, and this was awesome. These guys were slapping the shit out of each other, just going at it, and Joe looked dominant. Titus ain't look like no bitch. What'd you think about this, James?
I saw you mentioning one of the millions of wrestling groups that we have between different people or whatever, about it was, like you said, it was of the Ming and Giant variety. So I watched it and I was like, okay. And then next thing you know, they're slapping each other, overhand knife edge chops. I was like, what in the world has gotten into these two? What? And then, the ref would get in the way in these awkward moments as if, to referee, receipts almost. It was weird. I was like, it was almost as if, this was not what they had billed, but they went with it anyway. And kept going along with it. And I thought it was interesting. It was only, I don't know how long.
It was 2.5 minutes. It was 2.5 minutes. How long? It was 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, like I said, it could have been longer than 3 minutes. But it was entertaining, and it raised my eyebrows a few times because I was like, what is going on here? Yeah. Somebody's out here going for self.
It was stiff, Then Apollo Crews got in there, and Samoa Joe basically humbled him. And these guys are putting over Joe so hard right now. So definitely is needed because Joe needs to be rebuilt, and if he's going to be going at Roman Reigns. So we thought we were going to get the 6-woman match with Banks, Mickie James, and Bayley against the awfully named Absolution group. Turns out Bayley was caught in that jump zone, as well as Mickie James, leaving Sasha Banks to basically be told, get down or lay down, as we like to say in these streets. And, Sasha was like, I ain't trying to get down. So Absolution basically said, well, you about to lay down. And they went out there and just whooped on, Sasha Banks. James, this group name is awful. Awful.
I didn't really have that much of a problem with it. I mean, I heard it and I was like, the first thing I thought was, of course, Absolution is a mystery in Lemmy's voice from Motorhead. But other than that, I thought, whatever.
So
what else they gonna call them?
When I looked up the definition for the word absolution, it says formal release from guilt, obligation, or punishment.
Right. That's exactly what Michael Cole said too.
And I was like, huh. I thought that they wanted to come out here, and say they about to absolve people pretty much, and they about to come out here, and I think they did something like that, and they were like, we need something where it's a past tense or a different tense version of that, but I think the name's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this, I'd rather them be called Absolution and PMS Part 2.
Do you remember the submission sorority?
Oh, the submission sorority?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was another bad one.
These names.
Paige have stables, and they always be having bad names.
Yes. Jeremy said Kushida's using God's last gift right now, and it's awesome. Howard says, how is Mandy Rose the most polished looking / sounding person in that segment? Sonya...
Wait, what?
Easy. Sonya Deville...
Paige?
Well, Sonya Deville is just not ready, for one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But compared to Paige sounds like she has, I don't know what happened, but Paige sounds like she's been gone and she sounds so comfortable on the mic and nowhere else. She was never some spastic, nervous wreck on the mic, but she was always, pretty good. She sounds like, she has all the confidence in the world on the mic right now. Especially this week and last week. Man, did she sound good. And, I thought just plain on good. Like, Sonya Deville, that ain't gonna work. She gonna get whatted every time she talks from here on out.
I wouldn't even hand her the mic no more. Just let her throw her little MMA looking strikes and get the fuck on. But so next I wanted to talk about are you buying Elias at this level? Like in the Roman Reigns and Elias match that happened, it went on pretty long. There was a long ass chin lock in there, several of them actually.
No. There were 2 long ass rest holds in that match.
Yeah. Did you buy Elias at this level? Because I feel like this has been his highest step up to date, and I think the match got well received towards the end. But do you see this guy lasting?
Okay, so I thought that the segment with him starting out, dedicating the song to Miz, asking the crowd if he wants to hear it. The crowd yells no, and he says, "You know what? I'm not gonna." And the crowd yet says yes. He says, I'm gonna play it." And then he says, "You know what? I am gonna play it because I owe it to Miz." Then he brings in the Miztourage, and they have harmonicas, and then they have to pantomime it actually playing the harmonicas over whoever else is actually playing it. It was fantastic. Like, I laughed out loud at how ridiculous that whole segment was. I thought it was great. Then the match happens, and, the beginning of the match was really boring and slow. But by the time you get to when you see the Drifter do that elbow drop, looking like Macho Man, right? It was a beautiful looking elbow drop, and then he did that big power bomb. I was like, that's the best he's ever looked in the ring. That was the best match of his career. And I thought he acquitted himself pretty well considering what we've seen from him beforehand. Like, he stepped his game up. I thought Roman did a really good job with him.
Yeah. There was mixed reactions, because it didn't really get much of a reaction, this match in our thread. I think Meltzer said that was the worst match he saw Roman Reigns have in a long time. But it pretty much I thought it was just kind of there, and it was cool to see him get a showcase like that rather than on the Smackdown side of things where they'll just throw you in the main event and they won't see if you're ready yet.
Well, my thing is I'm grading him on a curve, so that's where I'm at with him. If I was grading him overall, I'd be like, yeah, he obviously I still don't think he has much in the way of in the long term. I think he's gonna have to get better a lot better, because you can't hide him and by doing all types of magic monster stuff like he's Braun Strowman. But
so I'll say this: he's gonna get every single opportunity to fail.
Yeah, because of how he looks in his gimmick with the music. So yeah, he's gonna get opportunities. And to be honest with you, I feel like what they show with him in the Miztourage, that is a blueprint of what he can do in the future as a mid-card, top-of-the-card heel or whatever, fighting the number 3 babyface on a brand. He's going to have to do some entertaining stuff or whatever to be able to keep his heat. And I thought he did a good job keeping his heat.
So, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
I was going to say, so on to this disaster that was Bray Wyatt. And that promo, I ended up writing a column this week. No one has ever needed to turn face more than Bray Wyatt. Got a lot of traction, got a lot of interaction with it, and this guy, this was not a promo. This was a cry for help, James. This was a guy, and everyone looking at him in utter confusion, never understanding exactly what he's talking about. And I feel like the world has caught up to where One Nation Radio has been since the end of 2013 on this guy. And he basically came out, he said he never had a childhood. He never celebrated birthdays. He never carved a turkey, and he never cared. Wyatt said the fans do. He said the fans' entire world exists in a cardboard box. Yes, bumskis, might you add. He says, they try to tell you what to buy and tell you who to love. Then he called us pathetic. He tried, and the fans never listened when he tried to show them the way. So this is our fault, James. He said, our suffering brings him joy because his eyes are wide open. He can truly see us for who we are. He said, none of us are alive, and we are all dead. You're dead. And he laughed, and he laughed, and he just repeated it and yelled it until it was just absolutely uncomfortable. And it was just like, they have fucked this guy, like, beyond comprehension. Did you get that same vibe that I got from it?
Not the same vibe. I just thought it was weird. I thought, like, okay, like, I was like, okay, like, this promo is whack. Like, it's coherent, but it's just whack. You know, that which is better than most of his promos that are like whack and make no sense. So, or I'm sorry, or also incohesive. So, like, I just I thought, like, well, whatever. It's another Bray Wyatt promo, and he's gonna let he laughs in hysterics, and like it's pretty much it's almost as if he's like built himself into the illusions of grandeur. Like he literally is buying his own hype. Like he's almost like it's almost like that promo was like a coping mechanism to protect his ego that he's a failure. But whatever. He beat Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy's now looks like he's breaking. Yes.
So, in the biggest news of the week, I think to come out of WWE, it looks like he's about to be awoken. You know, Matt Hardy, there was a news report that Impact Wrestling, we didn't find this out till days later, basically said they would let former talents, including Matt Hardy, use gimmicks that were used on their TV and not pursue them, you know, with legal action. So once Matt Hardy started snapping and hitting all those delete chants, all of us were looking like, oh my God, what is happening right now? So we found out a couple days later, like, okay, yeah, they've got the green light. So where do you see this going, James? Can they get Matt Hardy back to that level when they first, like, brought the Hardys back in, where it was hotter than the sun?
No. Like, that's too far gone. They've already screwed that up. They signed these dudes thinking they were going to get new improved Hardy Boys, you know, with a new gimmick and everything. And, you know, it wasn't able to come to fruition, and they've been dying slowly on the vine. And there have been moments, like, when each of them have both, you know, squared off with the Miz, like, they both had their time. I mean, and were over in their matches, but, like, for the most part, like, and they had their run with the tag title scene. But where they are now, like, you know how it is. Like, Vince, the only person he's ever thought of as really a star between those two was Jeff. And Jeff's out right now, so Matt has to sit on the bench. Or more or less be he's almost like, trying to think of like a 10th man in the NBA right now. Who's a good 10th man, would you say, right now?
Shit, let's see. I don't know. I'm not sure who a good 10th man would be.
He's Rozier from the Celtics.
Wow.
Rozier from the Celtics.
So Howard Schilling says, translation, we can't afford attorneys anymore. That's funny. Yeah, they, you know, Impact is, I think, you know, it's been speculated that they have done this to babyface themselves in the eyes of, like, the public. Like, oh, look how nice of them, you know, to do that. But where was all that the last, like, you know, since March or whatever? But and it's not even necessarily something to bang on Impact for, because you think Vince is going to come out here and be like, yeah, y'all can use this gimmick, you know, on your TV and not compensate me.
Yeah, especially when he was out here, you know, like just over a decade ago, trying to sue WCW, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall for using their own names. like they're clearly Ramon and Diesel, damn it.
Yes.
It is like, nah, dude, they're using their real names. Like, they're not even wearing, like, they're not even going out here wearing leather and a whole bunch of, like, cheap looking gold chains. They're not, you know, like, yeah, Scott Hall still does a fake Scarface Cuban accent. Yeah, he is doing that. But other than that, they're not the same guys. So, like, for them to, you know, the whole thing about, you know, trying to, I don't really hold it against them. It's like, look, man, if you have a federation and, you know, people come up with something that's hot, like, if you want to try and, you know, keep it a relation type of claims to it financially, I don't blame you.
Yeah, man. So we didn't see Absolution just once. We saw her them twice. Asuka demolished Dana Brooke in arguably Dana Brooke's greatest match ever. She came out there and essentially lost and got flipped over in 4 seconds. That was absolutely amazing. Yeah.
You know what that reminded me of?
What was that?
It reminded me of, what was that? The who was this? Well,
Cameron.
The girl that charged in on Rousey and got put in an armbar inside of 10 seconds too. Was that Kat Zingano?
It might have been.
Or was that Misha Tate?
I don't remember.
Okay, but yeah, it was pretty much, it was like the exact same thing. It was like, okay, like Ronda Rousey beat me, Asuka beat me really bad. I want a rematch. All right.
I've seen the tape.
I'm gonna run up, yeah, because I run up and get done up, like put an armbar immediately. And bro, like I was watching it, and I literally yelled like hell yeah, like that was great, because it's like get her, like she's getting there, like she's getting more over and over week by week. So like had her rematch or beat the hell out of her 1 week, next week is even faster.
Yeah.
And then like I also like the fact that it's almost like when they came out, the Absolution came out and surrounded the ring. It was almost like Paige, like they're about to go in the ring, and then they all backed off, and they're almost like, it was almost like between like Paige's new group and Asuka, they're almost like, look, you got your run of the women's locker room. I got my run of the women's locker room. Like we're the new ones. We'll leave each other alone. Like we're not finna step in each other's turf, basically.
I remember when they first brought Asuka out, like for the match or whatever, and then it was like, I was like, wow, they're acting like this is completely disconnected from the Absolution shit, right? And I was pissed when they did that. So when they brought them out, I was like, okay, so they are trying to loop it in. So to deal with it, I think is, some folks were mad that they said Asuka quote unquote back down. Like, why would you have the babyface, come out there and just leave? I thought it was like a issue of like, yeah, we gonna fight one day, but we'll get to it, when it's time.
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, maybe it's me, but I saw it as what they were trying to, or not what they were trying to do. What I saw it as was they surrounded the ring, and then Paige and then Asuka didn't back down, and she was actually ready for all three of them. And then Paige basically backed off the ring at that point, and then like it pretty much was like it's almost like respect. Like, look, I ain't gonna mess with you. Just don't mess with me. And then Asuka backed out the ring and walked away because it was over with.
Yeah,
like you can't like. The only other way around it is if you have those three come out, surround the ring, and then not only do they back up off the apron, they also walk away. Like, that kills all three of them. See, Asuka has to be the one that gets out. So, but they did make sure to show that Paige and those other two backed off the apron. They made sure to show that.
Yeah. Finn Balor and Jason Jordan are absolute geeks.
Yes.
There's no other way to sugarcoat it. These guys came out here and played the setup role for Braun Strowman against Kane. Jordan's starting to fake his injuries and doing all this bullshit to slowly turn heel because they've fucked him up so much. Poor guy. And then Finn Balor,
Hold on, before you get to Finn Balor. So it's a really weird thing what they're doing with Jason Jordan's knee, because on one end, he absolutely is being he's absolutely, how do you say, he's absolutely pussyfooting with his injury, right?
Yes.
He's absolutely on that Shawn Michaels, I don't know if I can really go, I don't know if I can, but I'll give it, I don't really know.
The good old college try.
Wrestles, and then he gets his knee hurt through all these matches, though. So, it's, but you see him clearly looking more Weasley every single week. You see that clearly happening. So, it's good that it's going in that direction for him.
I don't even know why they fucking around with it. They already know people don't like this dude, so they might as well just, don't fuck around with it.
Rich, here's the thing about that, right? and I understand, and I feel the same way most weeks when we have only like 4 weeks to get to the next pay-per-view. There's still a fucking week of television. They gotta
save someone.
They gotta put some water on this shit and stretch it out.
Wow. Put some water on that damn shit.
Yeah, they definitely have to stretch this out. So I'm okay with what they're doing right now. Like if this is a normal thing where they were like, when there was only like 2 more weeks for to the next pay-per-view, I'd be like, done, do it now, get it done with. But I understand at least in this situation.
Yeah, man.
What do you think as far as what do you think of the direction it's going to? Aside from the fact that you think it's going too slow, though.
I like it if he's going to become a heel, but I'm interested to see who he actually fights. Like, I think it should only be Angle, but I believe he should get a Triple H match before he does the turn, and Triple H should like whoop his ass really bad, and Kurt not be there for him essentially, and then that be the real trigger that like that sets off the turn.
What will you be against if at some point or another Triple H basically buys Angle's son?
Oh my god!
Like what?
I'll buy your dumb ass.
Not buy him, but basically put him into his quote unquote stable. Like start giving him preferential treatment. Like put him in that same class with like Samoa Joe. Like, would you be against that?
No, I would think, like if they wanted to relaunch, I hate to say this, relaunch the Authority, right? And then have him sell his dad out. Essentially you did. Preferential treatment, and rolling with the game, man. He's got to fight the game.
I said, if he was basically like Samoa Joe, like basically like he's affiliated. He's not in the gang, but he's affiliated.
Look, man, it's all too close for me. Like, I've seen the Authority 1,000 times, and it only takes a little bit to get it started, and then all of a sudden, there's 12 of them in the ring. Like, so. So, are you saying that James, they were going to say Jason Jordan was always their champion? Is that what you're advocating?
That's not what I was going for.
Oh, okay. But yeah, man, those guys, off of that, Finn Balor is absolutely, I think Vince McMahon was like, all right, I seen you talking all that shit on Twitter, so, we about to have you get your ass whooped by Kane.
Again, the third time.
Oh, man. So.
Not only was it the third time, it was after Kane had just got done with a match and he whooped his ass.
Yes. Kane was out here, like, diminished. Like, that man was just, fresh off fighting another dude, and then he whoops you clean, slaps you some skin, and whoops your black ass. Yes.
It was about to kill you.
Yes.
Well, no, okay, this is what they did to protect. To protect Finn, right? In quotation marks. He was winning the match, and then Kane started cheating, and then Kane whooped his ass with a chair. Whooped him bad, like
the old country way.
He was whooping him so bad that I actually started yelling again every single time he hit him. Like, again! Again! So, it was a good beatdown, and then he did the whole spot where he was basically going to Pillmanize his neck and throat and head.
Yes.
So, I thought that was good. I was wondering who's going to make the save because they did say that earlier in the night that Strowman wasn't there. So I was wondering, like, who's going to make the save? And then sure enough, it was Strowman, which is like, well, fine. That's even better. Tell him he's not there and he shows up to save the day. That's even better for me. So,
yeah.
Like, Strowman beat his ass.
Yes.
Strowman was beating his ass. I was over there yelling. Then I started yelling again also. Like, it was great.
Yeah. I would rather just see Braun Strowman and Kane not have a match and then just have them just attack each other forever. Because this eventually has to, like, lead to, like, the bell ringing. And we don't need that, like, at all. It needs to be like, how about they just do this? Like, they do the same shit they did with the Big Show. All right, we're going to put you in the cage with Strowman, and Strowman's going to murder you too. Look, that's the new deal. You have to go 1-on-1 with Braun Strowman in the Steel's cage and see if you survive. Let's get a couple comments. It's that Simon said, "Nah, we ain't doing no authority-ish, no more. All caps, hell nah." Howard says, "Give Triple H a damn stable of former NXT guys, and they attack both shows. We've done enough invasions. I think that they, I don't know, man. Like, because it's getting to the point where there's so many former NXT guys, it's really hard to classify who's an NXT guy and who's not. Because if you look at it, all these dudes are in NXT.
Yeah, most of the roster has been in NXT.
Yeah,
on both shows. Yeah, so I'm from that point. Like, yeah, I get it. I mean, and that's the thing of what they did. They're separated with Paige and her group, and like Ruby Riott and her group. Is that Ruby Riott and her group? All her chicks are NXT, all NXT, and then as Paige has done it, like Paige can pretty much say like, yeah, for the most part, like they've been those two, Sarah Logan and
Liv.
Mandy Sachs. Oh no, and Mandy Sachs, they've both been in NXT, but no, you're right, Liv. I'm sorry, and Liv, like they've been NXT, but like not like that,
And that kind of like brings me. I was talking to Jeremy and Josh about this. Like, what is NXT really being used for? And the people they're calling up, like, they're not even using them in NXT like as like prominently as some of the other folks we were seeing. So it's like, do they realize that, or do they feel like these competitors don't fit like for NXT? And it's like, who do you want to be essentially? Like, you got all these folks. It's like, well, they kind of pick and choose who they want for these roles. Like, Liv Morgan never got like, remember, Alexa Bliss never had a takeover match. Like, one-on-one ever. And then, you get on the main roster and it's like, oh yeah, it all like works now. And like Elias, for example, he was never really used in NXT like that. And then you put him on the main roster and like, oh yeah, they're going to make him a star. So it's like, what are they really developing? Like, doing all these matches and these takeovers, like, what is it leading to?
Oh, well, that's the thing. Like, okay,
like, do they have a system we don't know about? Is what I'm asking, essentially. Like,
well, basically, what I'm getting at is like, we always talk about NXT like it's developmental, and it's not actually developmental. It's a third brand, like where they do put people that we do like to think of it as developmental, but they've said it a bunch of times that it is a third brand, and we just don't believe them. And I mean, and we, given the way they treat us all the time, we should believe them, right? But
correct.
In some of these cases, it's like, all right, how the hell am I if I'm in NXT, right, and I have the right for people, and I see the Drifter, and I see like Alexa Bliss, and I see some of the other people, like, and I see Braun Strowman. How the hell am I getting them over in NXT?
Right. So like,
when you people watch NXT, like, they're the diest of diehard fans, right? They want to see indie style wrestling. Like, Braun Strowman ain't gonna give you no damn indie style wrestling. Elias ain't giving you no indie style wrestling. Alexa ain't giving you no indie style wrestling. So, like, that's
it's like they shield them completely. Like, they don't throw them out there at all. Like, it's just a disconnect for me. It's like, why would they do this? Like what is the developmental system that we don't know about? Essentially, it's like, how do we figure out who's going to be these people now? That essentially, that are going to get called up.
Well, you don't. The thing is, like, it's literally a third brand, and like the people that you see or whatever that get called up or whatever else outside of that, that's for the eyes of whatever they see at the Performance Center.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, so many people that are in NXT or a lot of them actually, are NXT for however long. They do their time, like they're in their own probation, and then they go to the main roster. And given the fact of, like, you think about the people that were that have been brought in that were at the Performance Center but not necessarily on NXT that much, and you look at their track record compared to people that were on NXT television all the time, and like, you have whatever, and we have what their gimmick is and their story and their character and what they did in NXT to get over, and you see how Vince always wants to do some other shit that never like matches up with what got them over in the first place on NXT, right. And they almost all the time fail. Right. It's like, well, maybe people are better off not actually being on NXT because Vince sees some shit. It's like, oh, that's good. let me scrap half of this shit and give you half of what made them popular, and then they fail, and then Vince is like, oh, see, they couldn't get over, pal.
Like, in that case, they should just scrap.
Blank script.
Like,
AJ Styles, blank script, showed up.
Like, in that case, they should just scrap this shit then. Like, you pulling these folks, like, out of nowhere, and then, like, if you put them on the main roster and they don't become stars anyway, it's like, alright, what are you gonna do? You just gonna over-push them to death? I mean, they have no problem doing that, but...
Well, I would say this, right? At some point, Vince will not be living, and he won't be calling all the shots. So, chances are, once that starts happening, it won't be working like that. Like, people will go from NXT to the main roster and basically put on and get over the same way they got over this, except to a larger audience. Like, you will get to see Bayley go through trial and tribulation, and then like get screwed over by friends, and then like get vengeance on friends and fire up, and then eventually like get to the point where like she can't take no more, and then she actually does overcome. Like, maybe you do get a point where like you do get actual character out of someone like Finn Balor or whatever. Like, that's just not really a thing that they do on the main roster. Like, you get like, close enough. They look the same, relatively speaking. They change one or two things, but like they always go a little bit different than how the exact same way they got over in the first place. And that's a big deal.
It's weird.
That's why a lot of them look bad. Like, it took them literally like 2 tries for them to figure out, oh yeah, Asuka needs to be like a killer instead of like being in these matches and getting the match from her and not looking impressive. And then they flip the script like, oh, actually, she needs to kill people quickly, efficiently, ruthlessly, with a smile on her face. If they figured that out fast enough, like,
I think it's something to keep an eye on going forward. Like, because like we need to like look at this stuff, because it's like, remember when like Baron Corbin got called up? Like, is this an example of that? Like,
I don't know. I think he's full on NXT because he was in a shit ton of takeovers.
Correct. I take that back. Yeah. Yeah.
He was in Brooklyn 3. Remember, he got choked down in Brooklyn 3 by Joe, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Brooklyn 1 by Joe, right?
Yeah. And then he had that match with Austin Aries that was like, yeah. And then they called him up, so it was like
he beat the hell out of Bull Dempsey.
I remember that.
Takeover.
I remember that. On to SmackDown. We'll get to that side. Mojo Rawley turns heel finally on Zack Ryder. And I thought Mojo had potential as a babyface, personally. Like, on some, poor man's John Cena shit, essentially. He's always hype. He seems like someone the kids would like. And they decided, fuck all that. We're going to have him jump on Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder, you're going to be the bum that you always were. And they're going to go ahead and make Mojo the heel. And this has whoop Zack Ryder's ass and get him the fuck out the way written all over it. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, I think like after this feud, like Zack could be looking for a pink slip, or not looking for it. Like, he might be on the lookout for that. He might be trying to like dodge like phone calls from like the Connecticut area, from the Greenwich area, from the Stanford.
Throw your phone
area
out.
Code. Throw the
whole phone away.
He's like, that's corporate's phone number. Nope, not picking that shit up. Nope.
Turn off your social media, all that. Be like, there is no way to contact me. Y'all gonna have to find me, damn it.
Yeah, you have to look. You gonna have to fire me when I'm in the building. Like, that's face to face.
Oh man, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really like, I thought everyone thought for a while now that it was gonna be Zack that turned on Mojo, but when it was Mojo that turned on Zack, I'm thinking, oh boy, he's gonna get fired.
So we about to have this Mojo Rawley versus Gronk match now, right? And then Gronk could come in and be the babyface, right?
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Oh man, maybe Mojo Rawley gets the gender push next year.
What? Oh my
god! Would you hate it as much?
I might hate it more. Ugh.
It would be really bad. Like, so the only thing I can say for Mojo is, I know he can talk. I know he can talk, like, for sure. But they have to make sure they take this time before WrestleMania. I wouldn't even, like, maybe you let that man go back to back in the Andre the Giant joint, right? And then you kick off his shit from there. But they've got to handle that transition.
I seriously doubt that, like, he'll be, I don't know, like, I don't have any, how do I say this? I have no confidence in what he can do in the future for WWE. Like, I don't know, like, who does he fight now?
He fights Zack Ryder.
Oh, I'm sorry, after Zack Ryder. Like, what then?
You give him a mid-card babyface. I mean, we can pull up the roster for SmackDown.
Who's that? Shinsuke?
No. So let's see. Howard says, Zach is about to start sending letters to JTG about tips on how to stay employed. Fuck you, Rich, for even saying that. Yes, man. These guys are. Yeah, he's gonna have to dodge these that 860 area code. He's gonna have to dodge that. So let's see. He can fight Randy Orton. He could fight.
He can fight him, but no one's gonna believe he's gonna beat him.
Ty Dillinger, I think he's a heel. He can roll through. He can fight Big E. He can fight. Shit. He gets real slim, real quick on that side.
Yeah.
He gets real slim. He can fight Sin Cara. He can fight
Bobby Roode.
Yeah, Bobby Roode. That might be the one right there. Howard says,
sorry, but like
Bobby Roode. Yeah, bro. Comments blowing up. Dylan says, I hope they get rid of the hype shit when he turns face again. Simon says, Mojo Rawley about to get that Shad from Crime Time push. Howard says, if Mojo goes over Nakamura, I'm done. Jeremy says, he can fight Bobby Roode. And then Simon says, so basically nothing. Yeah, fuck it. He can fight John Cena. Why not? Baron Corbin got to do it.
Ugh. Dude. Hopefully Cena gets him out of there the same exact way. Like, look, bro, you trash. You off. Like, you ain't got nothing going for you. Other than the fact that you played football.
I don't hate Mojo like that. I don't hate Mojo like that. Like, I think there's something there. I think there's something there. But it's as it's as a babyface.
Put it into words.
Look, it's as a babyface. I will try to put it into words. When he's cutting promos and he's not acting like a damn fool, like when he's like loud and hyper, there's like a element of when Cena gets serious. Like, I feel like I saw the same thing. Like, it was like, oh, okay, there's something there. So I could be wrong, but I think the guy, if they're gonna give him a shot eventually, I think they should try to find out. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Like, I'm not saying, hey, put the WWE title on him or anything, like gender or anything, but, like, can he be the U.S. champion next summer? Sure he can. Like, can he win a tag team? Can he form another tag team with somebody or win a damn, I don't know, like, what would essentially be like a King of the Ring or something? Like, if they bring that shit back, sure. Why not? Can he win the Andre the Giant shit again? Why not? Like, literally doesn't matter. This is fake, James. This shit.
Right, man, you keep saying this shit don't matter, and then you be like, well, yeah, shit don't matter when you let this motherfucker win matches and shit, or win things that matter, or things that people would actually care about. And, like, he's just a bottom of the card guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I see him. He's a bottom of the card guy. Like, maybe he ascends to the mid card, but, like, I don't see nothing else in there. Like, he ain't even ever made event no WrestleMania. That ain't never happened.
All right, WrestleMania 35 when Gronk win the Royal Rumble, and then he comes to fight Mojo. All right, James.
That's never happening.
So Bobby Roode versus Baron Corbin. Do you care, James?
Fuck no. Why would you think about some shit like that? Bobby Roode versus Baron Corbin, bitch. That shit is gonna be fucking terrible.
Is trash.
Like, dude, what What in either one of their WWE main roster careers so far will lead you to believe that, like, I should
hold on.
Either one of their feuds?
James, someone said, you just suggested Mojo getting that gender push, Rich. No, I did not. I did not suggest that.
You kind of did.
How?
Or you were like, huh?
How?
You were kind of like, it wouldn't be the worst. Like, they could do worse. They could do some shit like that with him. And I was like, dude, like, that might be a worse fate than Jinder's title reign. Like, dude, there's literally nothing going for him right now, other than the fact that, like, he's a gigantic dude or whatever.
So they just turned,
like, he's a big dude.
They
like,
just turned. So they turned Sami Zayn and Mojo Rawley in these last couple months, right? Who do you think they're going to have a better plan for in 2018?
I mean, they're stupid. I mean, yeah, you're right. But that's one of the problems with this company, though. Yeah, it's like, everybody in their locker room can, like, clearly tell and like watch the same shit we watch, and they all come with the same thing about, like, this person's super talented, da 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 da, Laissez Squad, and then, like, at the same time, Vince goes around and, like, oh, let's push this guy. Why? Because he's gigantic.
All right.
Like, is he as talented? Can be, like, as good as, like, it's almost like, you know what Vince is with size? Like, Vince with size is almost like the casting director for movies or television that casts beautiful people. Like, almost like they basically cast stuff almost like they run a soap opera. Like, it's not about how good you are at acting. It's not about how good you are, like, as far as emoting. It's as far as, like, oh, you're drop dead gorgeous. So, like, put you on the screen here, and then, like, we'll let it roll. And then, like, while you make these weird, like, awkward faces, like, while you're trying to emote between, like, scene breaks, like, we'll leave that in and we'll deal with it. And, like, you won't be nearly as good an actor as, like, Michael B. Jordan or Tessa Thompson. But whatever, because you're beautiful. It's weird. It's really weird. That's how they are with size. So
AJ Styles took on both Singh brothers, and Jinder Mahal came out there wearing some bullshit, and they jumped on.
Thank you, dude. Why was he dressed like Vince?
Yes, like he's either stealing Vince McMahon's suits or, like, I don't know, like, what's up with the strong patterns and all that deal. Jinder's usually real fly.
Like, what is it with, like, it's really weird. Like, when's the last time you see Roman Reigns in a suit?
Bro, the Shield thing, the table for three, he looked terrible, and he was wearing one of them Vince McMahon shoes. He was dressed like Cena, who was dressed like Vince.
Thank you. I'm gonna drop my damn headphones.
Yes, bro. Yes. All right. So if y'all haven't seen how Roman Reigns is dressed in the table for three, after this show, pull it up or just pop it into Google or whatever. And it's like this blue, blazer or whatever, and it has, like, these stripes on them, like this plaid pattern. It's like, I don't think Roman Reigns would ever dress like that anytime. And then you see that, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Like, that's what I was getting at. I was like, there's something about, like, Vince, these guys that Vince is almost like handpicks, where he's almost like, give him, he's champion, like, give him number to my tailor, damn it. And, like, typically speaking, Jinder, because his body type isn't like a Cena or a Roman, like he has a slimmer build, so it's like he kind of has like almost like one of those not tailor cut, almost like a custom, almost like a slim fit, like a slim fit custom type deal to him. So, like, so it worked, and then, like, he's like, you're right. He generally is dressed really well. His suit game is normally on point. But that checker shit he came out in on Tuesday, I don't know what that was. And I was thinking to myself, like, bro, he's dressed like Vince. This is shit I've seen Vince wear before. And I was like, I can't believe it. This is the third dude in a row that's been basically like his hand-picked guy or whatever, and, like, got him dressed like him. Like, got him drinking the Kool-Aid, literally.
Hey, man, would you dress like Vince for that world belt?
No.
Look, if I was wrestling, what's the worst thing that happened?
No, but especially when you're like, Jinder is like, look, I already got my title shot and I lost it. What is me dressing like this fool gonna do for me now? Yeah. And then you see how high his pants were?
Bro, Jinder came out here like he was that man was ready for rain. Like, man was ready for rain.
He was in high waters and with the asshole loafer shoes with no socks in them.
Yep.
With that gingivitis, with the athlete's foot in the soles. Like, yeah, it was real bad, man.
Yeah, those are them shoes that you don't wear socks with.
Yeah.
Your cousin be wearing those.
Sweating in your shoes. That's gross. Sweating in your shoes. Gross.
Yes, Dylan says, I'm looking at it now. Roman looks horrible in that monstrosity. Yes, he does. AJ Styles clashed one of the Singh brothers off the turnbuckle onto the other one in a moment of excellence. If this was the end of the Singh brothers, who were attacked by Jinder after, and I already have a diabolical master plan, which I hope it's not leading to, that I'm afraid to even say on air. I have put it in the group otherwise, but if the Singh brothers have no question been the stars of the show for India, if India wants to be proud of anyone, the 1.3, they should be proud of these guys. They should be proud of these dudes who came in WWE a year ago dancing around like some type of parody. And then they showed up and they showed that they were willing to die for this shit. They were willing to fall off the goddamn, what's that shit called? The Punjabi prison. They were willing to have Randy Orton kill one of their ass. They were willing to get finishers, from the second rope, onto each other. James, if this is it for the Singh brothers, what kind of grade do you give to these guys for what they've done?
An A. Like, they're taking all the big bumps for this dude to try to get him over. Like, if not for them, like, I don't know how that. Like, can you imagine how bad as bad of an act as it was even with them? You know how much worse the act would be without those two?
So, like, Jinder, gets further away from replacement level without them.
Like, without him, argument. Oh, yeah, another thing. Let me phrase this point. But, like, without him, like, you can make a case that, like, yeah, he has nothing for him. Like, he's basically, like, he may as well be Indian Mojo. Like, I don't know what the hell you do with these people. Yeah. So, along with the suit, so once he took the joint off his head, or whatever, his head wrap deal, I'm calling it a head wrap. I'm not calling it a turban, I'm calling it a head wrap, just to be funny.
Yeah.
Bruh, what is going on with Jinder's hair?
He's losing it, but he's still growing it. If that makes any sense. Like, he doesn't know it. He doesn't know it's time to come home.
Basically, he's growing his hair out to cover up his bald, like the fact that he's balding. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Like, but why is he growing it longer? And why is it like a mullet? And like, why does it also look like it's really curly, but like it's so curly that it's not like it looks like it's unkept too. But like, you're wearing a suit and you have like your head, the joint on your head all nicely wrapped. Like, why does your hair look so a mess? I don't understand. What's going on here? Like, it looked like he woke up out of a coke binge.
Wow.
Well, not waking up out of coke binge. You don't wake up out of coke binge.
Yes.
It's like, you get my point. Like he was hungover or something, and he woke up and he's all like disheveled and shit.
Yes.
His hair was anyway.
So I made the comment with like someone was like, man, Jinder's hair looks terrible. Why don't he cut that shit? I was like, that man's at that stage where if he cuts that shit, like, we don't know if it's gonna grow back the right way. Like, so he's at that point. So he might just have to keep trimming that bitch to keep it at that length.
He needs to cut it lower. Like, it was fine like up 2 months ago. Now I don't know what he's doing. It looks almost it's like starting to look like a mullet almost.
Oh man. What's up, Joe? I see you tuned in all the way from Australia. The Riott Squad took on Charlotte and Becky. Was it Becky? No, it wasn't Becky. They took on Charlotte, Natalya, and Naomi. Natalya walked out on her ass like Bad News Brown. Yes. Yes, Howard. Oh, my analogy was, yes, Howard actually put it in the comments. He was like, if Vince takes Authors of Pain away from Paul Ellering and gives them to Jinder Mahal, I can't even think of a good analogy for this. Yes, that was what I fear is going to happen at Clash of Champions.
What? How do y'all come to that conclusion?
Bro, because, like, what are the Authors of Pain, like, doing in NXT at this point? Like, it's time for them to come up. And he just whooped the Singh brothers' ass, like, what everyone is saying, yeah, that looks like a write-off or whatever, like, for those dudes. And then it was like, well, if that man debuts some new goons, who would they be? oh, there are two guys like ready right there. Now, if they do that shit, I'm gonna be furious.
Maybe I saw more of like, oh, you imbeciles have embarrassed me, so I'm gonna whoop your ass. I felt that. I'm sure. I almost feel like they're gonna be back next week.
I hope they're back next week.
That's how I saw it.
I hope they're back next week. Otherwise, be alarmed. I feel like Altus Payne overqualified to be correct.
His goons.
Correct.
Them boys should be in matches as opposed to like being that man's muscle for like the next 4 months, 6 months.
So Ruby Riott ended up getting the pin on Charlotte. It looks like they might be moving into a feud with those two. And supposedly there was a Charlotte Tamina feud supposedly on the horizon, and this is going to derail that. So yes, let's derail that as much as possible. Absolution versus the Riott Squad. Who has a better name?
Oh, the Riott Squad.
Yes, no doubt. Like I made it clear earlier my disdain for the Absolution, and I feel like it's just gonna just grow. The jokes will write themselves in the coming weeks, but the Riott Squad, I can get with that.
There's not an Absolution as a mystery meme going around yet.
No, I think you should make one.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
Absolution.
Oh man. And then there was a no DQ match with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. One of these guys, they've had a match on Raw back in 2015, I want to say, but it did not have a finish. So this is one of the first times they've got to go one-on-one, with a finish, even though it was a no DQ match. And Sami Zayn came out there with some weak-looking chair shots and all. But I thought these guys. Until
you mentioned that, I didn't even think about those. I thought, okay, whatever. It's 2017. You can't be out here, you can't be out here being 1999 Rock against Mick Foley's skull and shit.
Yeah. That was a popular thing in the group with all with our folks in the thread. They were saying, "Man, them chair shots look real weak," And I think Randy Orton beat the shit out of Owens with the damn kendo sticks. I think the kendo stick might be the most dangerous weapon of this generation.
What?
Yes. As the steel chair was in Attitude Era, the kendo stick is now, because just when people start whipping on each other with them kendo sticks, it's everyone can do it, and it all looks like it hurts.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. When people get beat down with chairs, and that you can't do headshots, so you can't just basically lay somebody out and they're just out. It looks so much more painful than taking the kendo stick, because you're actually getting your ass whipped. Instead of it with a belt or with a switch or whatever they fashion as a device to whip you with, basically, you getting whipped with a steel chair. That shit seemed like it hurt so bad.
Yeah.
When they basically hit you in your gut, and then you got to give it your back, and they did a well on your back for 3 or 4 licks. That looks so painful.
Yeah.
And the chair wraps around, and then the chair starts wrapping around your body.
So, any thoughts on this Orton and Owens match?
I thought, I don't know about you, but I thought, oh wow, this is a dude. Can we please add this to the list of metches they quote unquote gave away that could have been a main event for pay-per-view? Can we add that to the list?
Yes, I think if we were to replace, we could definitely have replaced, we could have done a Nakamura-Cena match as a SmackDown main event. We could have done an Owens-Orton match. We also could have done an AJ and Orton match as well.
Yep.
So, to make up for some of those, ones we got on SmackDown. But we do have a bunch of questions, and I kind of want to run through these rapid fire style. So Joe Saba says, Shield reunion, good or bad so far? James, you go, then I go.
Good in the beginning, and then good until the night after Survivor Series.
Bad.
That's what I'll say.
It feels like a corporate money grab and rehabilitation for Roman Reigns. Joe also says...
But Rich, it's all a corporate money grab because it's a corporation that runs the show. What are you talking about?
All right. When they came out... Look, when they came out there with them shirts on the same day, they quote-unquote reunited and all that, that looked lame as fuck because the original Shield never came out there beating you over the head with merchandise. Like, no matter if they were faces or heels.
Right. But the original Shield were all heels, though.
Correct, but we were supposed to be seeing the original Shield, James, as they kept mentioning on commentary. Over and over and over. So, Joe says, is heat always necessary? For example, Roman Reigns entering the Royal Rumble at 30 this year.
Oh, that's not heat. I mean, he's... Okay, does he mean heat in like the conventional sense of like, oh, we got to beat down Daniel Bryan because the setup for him to win the big match to win WrestleMania? Like, does he mean that by heat, or does he mean like just trolling? Like,
I think he means the trolling.
Oh no, trolling's not necessary at all. Like, you're antagonizing your fan base. You're running off your fan base by doing shit like that.
Yeah, those numbers. If you want to pull them up. Since 2015, they don't look good. Like, as far as ratings wise, but I don't know. I don't know how much stock folks want to put into that. Like,
the best way to think of it is this, right? I understand, like, wrestling is not like any other thing you really watch because, like, you don't really watch fake sports like that. But what other like form of entertainment do you watch where like the people that where the show or the music or the film or the play that you are consuming like purposely isn't trying to antagonize you purposely? It's like it is often. It's like often to where you can almost say it's consistent. Like it's something that happens like on a weekly episode. Something will happen that will be like, oh, y'all did this just to be literally petty to us. Like that's not what the art tour basically is like. I'm going to do this to basically spite my the person consuming this. Like that's only WWE does that. Like you don't see that shit in like what's the worst thing that happened in The Wire, for example? The worst thing.
The worst thing that happened in The Wire. I mean, there's like a million worse, like terrible things. But how about
Key Mom was getting killed at the end of season 1? What's it called? How about Stringer was out here? When Stringer was out here having an affair with Donette while D'Angelo was in prison.
That was pretty bad. Them firebombing Randy's mom's house or whatever.
Ooh,
that was really bad.
Yeah, that was fucked up. I got one. Here's one. Right. Randy ends up in the halfway house for snitching because his house got burned down for doing the right thing because he telling on people, and then like Naaman, who's a prick and is an asshole, is a jerk, and like probably like the fate he deserves is way better than life. I'm sorry, the fate he deserves in life is way worse than like, the life he's living, and then he ends up like living with like Bunny Colvin or whatever. He basically gets adopted by them in a nice house. Like the fact that like you follow season 4 and the lives of these kids, and then like the most miserable prick gets the nicest life, and then like poor Randy and Dookie, like one gets strung out like living on the street and drugs and shit, and the other one foster care life, parent dad was a piece of shit and left them, all that kind of stuff. Like that's that's how unfair life is. Like that, like compared to Roman Reigns is 30. Roman Reigns is 30 is worse. It's like, oh, you asshole, you out of your way. Like at least they told a story with their shit as far as like telling you like life ain't fair, right?
Yeah.
And it, like okay, and like it's a lesson that's taught that or something that's taught in like over the work, and that built over episodes and episodes and episodes. They did that on a whim to fuck with us.
Send them out there, damn it.
Yeah.
Oh man. Jeremy says, who should Lesnar face at the Rumble?
Shit, it's gonna end up being Braun, the way it's looking.
I think they should go with like something unconventional. If we're looking at, I would assume it would be a Monday Night Raw guy that we end up fighting, right? So I think you either go with either Ambrose or Rollins, preferably Rollins. I hope they don't get it in their mind to do Kane. I really hope they don't do that. But yeah, I'll say Seth Rollins for my answer. Let's see.
I have Brock should get an automatic bye. Like, the whole thing is he has to beat everybody with one move and one move only, and like you've already beat the entire roster like you're Bret Hart 1997. Then fuck it. What's the point? Like, then what's the point of him fighting any more people? Just save him for Roman and have Roman beat him at WrestleMania 34.
Yeah,
get it the fuck over with.
Yeah.
Like,
we're clearly seeing what y'all are trying to do. Like, you're not fooling us. You know.
Literally, there's nobody else for him to fight except for Finn Balor, and like
they don't want to do that.
By Kane right now.
Look, they don't want to do that. Oh man, they're knee deep in these Rumble questions. Simon says, says, I mean, Miz look like he's gonna be gone for a certain amount of time. You know, I'm down with Miz beating Brock Lesnar. I ain't got no problem with that. Simon says, who will win the Royal Rumble? Ooh. I'm gonna go with Nakamura because I think a SmackDown guy is gonna win, and they're gonna set up this. You know, with Roman being their Intercontinental Champion, they're gonna set this deal up longer with the Lesnar thing, and SmackDown tends to win these Royal Rumbles during brand splits.
Roman Reigns.
Damn. Simon also says, what will WWE plan next after Operation Lesnar Torch Pass fails with Roman Reigns? And Joe actually answered him, try again next year. I don't even think we need to, even elaborate anymore. So thank you, Joe, for answering that for us. Joe says, what do the New Day do at WrestleMania? It's really hard to tell at this late rate. Maybe they get the Bludgeon Brothers. Maybe.
Yeah, because I could. They might do some type of like pre-show 3-way tag match with like the Bludgeon or 4-way tag match with whoever else they figure out. So it might end up being like the Usos, the New Day, and the Bludgeon Brothers. Like they can't ever just have like two women wrestle each other. And they can't have like two tag teams wrestle each other either.
Maybe they do something with Owens and Zayn, maybe. Unless those guys are spoken for.
Maybe that's what they do with Kevin Owens. But don't you think like eventually like Kevin Owens is going to be in a singles match by WrestleMania? You don't think so?
I hope so.
I mean, but on the other end, like they definitely could do Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the New Day for WrestleMania. They definitely could do that for the SmackDown tag titles. They could, but it's so hard to get a regular tag match on the main card, like a regular rules match on the main card for WrestleMania. So we'll see.
Simon says, "How can WWE make 2017 even worse?" I mean, I can tell you that. They can take the WWE title off of AJ Styles in a couple weeks. That's what they can do to fully to take the year from. I think like AJ Styles like winning the title like that, and then essentially pulling SmackDown out of the mud has like turned WWE's year from what I thought was a complete negative into like you could argue that was a positive year overall.
I wouldn't argue it was a positive year. I would say it was. I don't know. Like I still think this is the worst year we've watched since we've been back to watching since 2011.
It has been, yes.
Yeah, so hard to say. I don't know, man. Like, I mean, they could always make it worse. Like, I don't make it a habit of being like, how can we figure out how to make it worse to watch?
The fuck it up challenge.
Oh, the fuck it up challenge. Yeah, let's give the belts to all heels. Oops, they pretty much did that for the most part. I don't know, man. Like have a main event and have some of these main events be like basically in hell. Like have have like Baron Corbin versus Randy Orton for the main event of a SmackDown pay-per-view. Like, do shit like that. Like, yeah, that could make it worse.
Good God, that would be awful. Next question. Simon says, so it's okay to trash WWE for putting two of the same women's factions on separate rosters at the same time, right? With no connection? Yeah, you can call them lazy. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this, at least on SmackDown they acknowledge that, like, there are similarities between the two, so at least they're not, like, pretending like, oh, like, these are not the drones you're looking for.
Like these shits are completely disconnected. Like,
I mean, but the reason for that is, like, okay, they're telling different stories. Like, I mean, yes, they're both 2-3 women factions, but, like, one is, like, basically, one's Team NXT, and then the other is, like, Paige found two people that, like, you know, looked up to her.
Yeah.
Like, she's pretty much like LeBron James.
Wow.
Right?
We grew up watching Paige.
We grew up, like, it's almost like, remember we used to always talk about, like, Kevin Garnett with, like, a slew of any big men from, like, they came into the league, like, after 2004, and it's like, everybody, whether it was Dwight Howard or Anthony Davis or whoever else, is like, I grew up idolizing Kevin Garnett. I had a picture of him on my wall. Like, that's, yeah, it's like Paige, and she was that kind of star to where she could it's actually feasible for a woman just got into the performance center or whatever to be like, that's the person that I looked up while, was making my way to try to get into WWE. That's the person I looked at as, like, my North Star to guide me. Like, so, yeah, that's believable to me. Like, as far as, like, and I will say this, like, at least, like, the way they're beating down people and, like, some of the stuff, like, after week 1, like, you see it in week 2, they're already differentiating how they're, like, going about this.
Mm-hmm. And they're actually letting them wrestle, too, on SmackDown.
Yeah. It's still gonna be an issue with, like, them trying to get 3 women over all at once. That's still gonna be an issue. I would like to see them, like, break into individual competition. Like, but the thing is, you know, like, they're gonna be worried about Liv Morgan and Deville. So we'll see.
Yeah. Simon said, what's your take on the rumored women's Royal Rumble match? Personally, I don't want to see it. Hell in a Cell soured me on giving the women everything the men get. Money in the Bank worked, though, until Ellsworth won it.
Here's the thing. The only reason why I would ever be against a women's Royal Rumble is the fact that, like, if they do it, they have to do it every single year. And if they do it, then I have the right to be pissed off when they treat it like it's bullshit instead of, like, actual thing that they're presenting to us. Because you know they're going to show a video package saying all the history of the women and how big of a deal it is, how special it is, and they're going to have some type of fuckery at the end and make it piss you off, just like they did with the women's Money in the Bank match. So, to, like, basically, like, get my mind wrapped on the, like, if I basically, like, you know, just to warn you and let you know there's going to be some bullshit if and when they do it. And the fact that, like, if they do it, they have to do it every single year from here until, like, the end of all Royal Rumbles. That would be what I would say against it. But other than that, like, they have enough women to do it now. Like, they could do a 15 woman Rumble and have it basically, like, you know, not as far a card. Like, you can absolutely do that.
See, now me, why I would be against it has nothing to do with them being women or anything, because unlike, you know, like what Simon said, like I don't care, let the women do everything the men do, whatever, right? But the fact is, WWE can barely book one Royal Rumble correctly on one night, let alone 2. Almost made James spit his shit out. Like, you're going to be asking WWE to book 2 Royal Rumbles differently on the same night till the end of time. I really think they would struggle with that, and it would not end up going correctly.
I think, okay, so
maybe they do it like at a different show, maybe, and call it something else. I don't know.
I want a women's Rumble for this reason, right? I'm tired of what they've done with the women this entire year, which is, especially on SmackDown, throw 4 women at it,
right?
Throw 5 women at it, throw 6 women at it. Like, the women got over on NXT because they had one-on-one matches and they were great matches, and I mean, obviously, it's unfair to, you know, keep constantly comparing NXT to, WWE to NXT when we know who's running NXT and we know who's running WWE. main roster show. So, but on this end, it would get them if they do a Women's Royal Rumble. That means they also have to do it every single year until the end of time. And B, that means that we actually will get like a legitimate one-on-one confrontation at a WrestleMania with women, between women for a belt. And I would love that because, like, as much as I loved the main event to WrestleMania, my main event to WrestleMania 32, which was the women's three-way title match. Like, there's something to be said. It's something that's lost in the fact that they have really not had a one-on-one women's match in like God knows how long. Like, what? I'm sure maybe there's been one since then, but like the last one I can think of was like Mickey and Trish at WrestleMania 22. I'm sure there's one since then. Is there one since then?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I hope for. And I mean, it would be cool to be able to see like, oh my God, like, you know, Lita just came out, you know, she's surprise entrance in the Rumble or whatever, Trish Stratus or Beth Phoenix or whoever else. Like, just you know, just for one, just a good nostalgia pop, just like you get in the Rumble. So I'd be cool with that.
Well, you better have Stephanie enter the Royal Rumble, bitch, and throw somebody out. All right, so I had this angle planned for the Women's Royal Rumble. I don't know if I talked about it or whatever on the show, but if you were going to bring in like Ronda Rousey and all that for the whatever you want to do, what you could do is have, you know, Ronda Rousey and basically Bayley and Sasha in the ring, Shayna Baszler, Bayley and Sasha in the ring, and then the equivalent of number 30 would be Rousey would hit the ring and she'd make her WWE debut, right? And then all of a sudden, like, it would be like, you know, a face-off essentially between Baszler and Rousey and Bayley and Sasha, you know, Charlotte being quote-unquote in the title match and Becky's still away at this point. So from there, they would think, you know, it's about to be, you know, a 2-on-2, and all of a sudden their homegirls come up out the crowd and jump in the ring, essentially. The other 2 4 horsemen women and turn that shit into like a super beatdown or whatever, and then throw both of them out the ring, and essentially like Baszler can like eliminate herself or whatever, you know, or however you want to do it.
What's the fourth one's name? Like, I know the third one's name is like Jessamine Dukes. But what's the fourth one's name? I can't remember her name for saving my life for me.
No idea.
Save life.
No idea.
Okay.
Someone let us know in the comments. Yeah, but you can do that or have one of the 2 get eliminated and then have the other ones rise up. Like, have Baszler get eliminated and then all of a sudden it's Rousey versus those 2, and then, you know, essentially Baszler and the other 2 come out, whoop their ass, and so Ronda wins it, and then you get to whatever you're going to get to, essentially.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we know if Rousey is like going to like do more than one match for WWE, or like
no idea. She's training right now at the Performance Center.
Right, but we don't know if she. But do we know if she's doing more than one match?
No idea.
Because like, if she basically takes like a quote unquote Lesnar schedule, then like, yeah, let her show up at the Royal Rumble or whatever, win the thing, and then like send her out there like the pay-per-view before, and like have her kill somebody, and then like be in the main event of, or not the main event, but like be in some gigantic prominent match at the next WrestleMania. I'm 100% behind that. But like, if this thing is just like, oh yeah, she's gonna parachute in and then leave, and like I saw a tweet from like I think Ryan Satin that was like, would people be cool with if
bullshit.
Yeah, if Rousey came in and basically like broke Asuka's undefeated streak, and I was like fuck, I was like no, that
would be bullshit.
I was like no, because I said no because if you know, if the real stars on the show for these big shows just parachute in, and like what the fuck am I watching 5 hours of every y'all weekly episode television for?
Yep.
Like, what's the point? Like, why should I give a fuck about Asuka or Bayley or Alexa Bliss or Carmella if like like Brock Lesnar, Shane, Triple H, Stephanie, The Rock, Undertaker, Shane, like they just parachute in, they had their matches, and when it's time for the real stars, they leave us here. Why the fuck am I watching these geeks? Why do I, why seriously, like why am I sitting here watching these geeks fight over stupid shit like paint?
Yes.
What the fuck for?
No reason. For funsies. So last question we're going to get to. Looks like Jeremy LeBoy, someone else asked you a question. Jeremy says, who's the WWE counterpart for Yoshihashi? Woo! So Yoshihashi is essentially like, you know who Yoshihashi is, right, James?
Yeah, Yoshihashi used to be on WWE, right?
No, that's Yoshi Tatsu.
Tatsu.
Correct.
Right.
So Yoshihashi recently wrestled. He's like a guy in New Japan where like he's not bad, but he's not necessarily good either. And he's kind of just like there, essentially. But you can put him in against a main eventer, but it always looks like they're trying to move him up to that level. But he's like above the jobbers, essentially. So if I had to say who is Yoshihashi right now in WWE, and it's a babyface, essentially. Yoshihashi right now. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. They never beat any of the big guys, but they're not like a bum either.
Bobby Roode, maybe?
No, not quite. I think he's more like
below that.
I think he's below Bobby Roode.
So, like Sami Zayn before he turned?
He's probably Sami Zayn before he turned.
Damn.
Because he's not a bad wrestler at all, but he's kind of swaggerless, and like he doesn't really have like the great matches. Like Sami Zayn is way better than Yoshihashi, but you might want to say, that's a tough one. That's really. I don't think there's a direct comparison. Unless you want to, if you want to get cute, maybe Bray Wyatt at this point. Maybe. But yeah, I think that'd be a good place where we can wrap it up. Thank you guys for all the questions and everything like that. Please check out the other shows on the Social Suplex Network, the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, all the way from the Scott. Love what those guys are doing. Also the SMC podcast. You can check those gentlemen out. And also making their debut later this week on Tuesday, Jeremy and Josh will be dropping Keeping It Strong Style, which will exclusively bring you New Japan coverage. I can't wait to do a run-in on that show. And that's debuting this week, and they're going to be set to drop every Tuesday. So they're going to be a little bit more organized than than some of us. But yeah, man. Thank you guys all for listening to the show. James, you got any final thoughts before we get up out of here?
No, just I would suggest for anybody that needs time off or whatever else. To get on TiVo, like that's a thing anymore, but like, their DVR or whatever means they have to get a hold of it. But like, if you're in a crunch for time or whatever else, and wrestling you're not really enthused with the wrestling, I suggest like in weeks like that where you just had enough, like skip Raw, skip SmackDown, and just watch it without commercial breaks. Like it's a lot better of a show when you don't have to sit there like for 3 hours in an overrun. Like you're just sitting there like, oh god.
Yeah, because there was like a real like contrast in the energy James and I shared about this past week. I was like, it was kind of just another week, and it was like, yeah, it's the end of the year. They're not really doing too much. Like, they're trying to keep the wheels turning, essentially. And James was like, man, I didn't have a problem with it. So, that's definitely some advice you guys may want to take. If you can sit there through those commercials, cool. Completely disregard it. But you might end up getting some time to do some other stuff, too. But, Yeah, man, that's going to wrap up the show. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys, we are available now on Google Play. We're available on Stitcher. We are also available still on Podbean and, Podcast Republic. No matter what, you have there, or if you want to get like old school with it, we have all these shows going up on YouTube as well. So you can check it all out there. And the YouTube channel is One Nation Wrestling. So, check all our shit out. And I will be dropping some more columns on Lords of Pain this week, as well as making my return to Social Suplex. I have not figured that out yet, but I will be putting something up this week. So, for James, I am getting up out of here.
Oh, yeah, one other thing. I'm pretty sure Finishel is putting out his ranking for the 1998 Royal Rumble in comparison to his ranking of his additions for all the rankings of the best Royal Rumbles, whatever. And I'm actually a dissenting opinion on his, so check that out, I guess. Let me know what you guys think.
For sure, man. And actually, the one one of the ones I had, the 2011 one, you guys can check that out. I didn't really go too full on with the jokes, but James let me, read a little bit of his, and it was hilarious. And when Dave drops that, you guys will get to see it. But thank you guys.
Well, think about it. It has to be hilarious. It's the Royal Rumble, for Christ's sake. They're really ranking the best Royal Rumble. Maybe it's my opinion because, how I feel about Royal Rumble. So, yeah. This ain't some shit. This ain't some shit to actually, sit down and really analyze. This isn't trying to think about, what, or trying to remember, how do we rank, the best college football teams of all time or some shit that actually, quote unquote matters. It's crummy. These are crummy wrestling matches. Just rank them, fine, whatever.
Wow.
We can talk about the funny stuff.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up One Nation Live. Thank you guys for listening. Peace.
Later.